Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. You join me today on a very cold lockdown Monday, which is why I've got the engine on. Just getting a bit of heat in the car, and hence the reason why I've got this northern beard growing. Anyway, a bit something different today. I thought today I'd take you through this little device, which is the OBD11. Now if you don't know what an OBD11 is, it's this device that basically plugs into your onboard diagnostics port, or hence the reason why it's called OBD11. And what this allows you to do is scan the car, scan all your modules, so your ABS module, your ECU, transmission, multimedia, blah blah blah. Lets you sort of detect faults, see what faults they are, and reset them as well, or clear the faults if you can reset them. Anyway, there's a couple of other cool things this device can do, so that is what I'm going to go through today. So anyway, without further ado, let's get straight into this. So this device, as I said, just plugs into your ODB port like so. Now this ties in with an app on your phone, obviously connects via Bluetooth, so I'm just going to start this app up. So when the app starts, you're going to have a screen like this where it says tap to connect. So we connect, select the device, OBD11, it's going to ask you the password. Don't think I'm going to tell you my password. I mean, it's not as if you can really get my bank details, right? So anyway, this is going to read the control units now. So it takes around about 60 seconds to read the modules. And then what it's going to do, it's going to prompt me to let me scan the modules and check for faults, basically. So when that's done, we'll do that. So it's detected all the modules, and now I'm going to tap to scan. So just tap that. So it says there's 29 modules here. So it's going to scan through all the modules and let me know if there's going to be any faults. Now there is going to be one fault I know of, and it's going to come on the car, and that is the telephone booster adapter or antenna. So basically, when I ordered this car from factory, when it got delivered to Audi, I went to pick the car up, and I was told I couldn't pick the car up because apparently government legislation came in, and the device that you used for this antenna booster was either illegal or it did something or other, I don't know. Anyway, it does sound like a dealer excuse, doesn't it? But I did read quite a few people dotted around the country with similar experiences. So if you do know what that was, please pop a comment below. I didn't really read into it too much. I mean, when you order a new car, you just want to collect it, and you're like, yeah, just do it. Just ring me up and tell me when I can come collect it. So anyway, so it's scanned 15 to 29 now. It does take about 2-3 minutes this, and hopefully we should just have the one fault that I know of. So here we go, one problem found. As I said, this is going to be in multimedia. Go to faults. There we go, antenna for telephone bracket. Fault code, and then status. So it'll either have static or intermittent. So static means the fault's always there. Obviously intermittent means it comes and goes. So yeah, so we know what that was. Now we've done our fault reading. I thought I'd take you through some of the cool things you can do with this device. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to look at the virtual cockpit. Now the S3s and the RS3s have a different virtual cockpit variant, should I say. So you might notice on the RS3 you actually get a little G meter, which tells you how many G's the car's pulling across different axes. Not only that, but you get two little gauges. You get a power and torque gauge. So with this device, actually, we can put that on the S3. So to do that, what we need to do is go into control units, and then we want to go down to module 17, which is dashboard. We want to go into long coding. Now I have already activated this, but I'm just going to show you how to activate it. Before we do any coding or anything like that, you do need to put the car in maintenance mode, which is really technical and hard to do. I'm just kidding. Now, to put the car in maintenance mode, it's literally, what you have to do is open your bonnet, like so. And that allows you to sort of change codes and store them. I mean, some codes will store without that, but other codes won't. Right, so we want to go into module 17, long coding. We want to scroll down. So for the G meter, we're looking at acceleration data, I think it is. So let's have a look. Acceleration display. There we go. So obviously it will be probably no if you've got an S3. Click yes, and then literally slide to right, and that will add the G meter to your dash, to your virtual dash. Now, if we go to, if you go further down, you've got engine data display, and again, what that is your torque and power dials. So again, it's going to be on no, so select that to yes, slide to right, and what you should be presented with is, as you can see, we've got our G meter here, and if I just take this into this mode, then we've got our power and torque. So unlike the RS3, the power and torque gauge don't quite work properly on the S3. I have seen someone that's coded them into work, but with this OBD11, it's only going to work from, it's only going to give you two readings, 0 and 100%. So if I rev the car now, you can see nothing happens on the gauge side. The G meter though works perfectly. So yeah, it's quite a little interesting thing. I'm sure some of you out there will want that on your dash. So I mean, with this OBD11, there's so many things you can do and look at. So you have obviously your control units, but there's also apps here. Now apps cost you credits. If you're like me and you go for the OBD11 Pro, you actually get 200 credits with the device. Now if you just look on the list, you can see these little 10. So what that means is various settings on here are going to cost you 10 credits. So we can look at the throttle pedal response, brake warning pad, turn signals. So the turn signals is basically if you haven't got dynamic indicators, because your indicators split between the boot and the wing, i.e. there's two sort of bulbs, you can intermittently have them flashing, so it's like a poor man's sort of dynamic headlight indicator. Daytime running light, you can start and deactivate that. I'm not sure why you want to do that. This is the first thing I did with this device. It's the start-stop system deactivation. Now, one of the most annoying things about the S3 is when you start the car, you have to press to deactivate the start-stop button. Really annoying. But with the OBD11, you can stop that, deactivate it. So if we have a look, there we can see the app price, which is 10. I mean, current value, it's not active. If I wanted to change that, just change value, and then, yeah, press either or and activate. But I'm going to leave it off, to be honest. Second phone support. So mirror dip. Now mirror dip, I had this from factory, and I'm not sure whether it's because I spec'd in the power folder mirrors. But anyway, for mirror dip, so basically you want your little mirror knob to be on your left hand mirror. Now when I put this car into reverse, you're going to see that wing mirror dip. There we go. Now some cars aren't spec with this from factory. Obviously with this app we can activate it. So at the moment I've got it on. Same again, change value, you can put it on or off. So there's a whole range of things you can do with this. Sound actor. So some people are a bit on the fence about this. So obviously S3s, Golf Rs, they sort of inject artificial sound from the engine into the cockpit. It's not to everyone's taste. I quite like it. You know, it's when you put your foot down, you want to hear a nice sound, and I just think that the engine in stock form isn't enough. I know it's a fake sound, but I do like it, I do enjoy it. However, you can turn it off if you want, or you can turn it up or down or whatever, which is quite useful. So again, you just change value, and as you can see here, you've got, you know, different sort of selections, different volumes. So it's sort of self-explanatory what the device will let you do. It'll let you do a lot of things. So the next thing I want to look at, now out the factory, this car has a lot of nannies, nanny systems. So obviously we've got traction control. Now, there are different ways you can use the traction control. Now there are different modes for the traction control standard. So obviously we've got traction in sport, which gives you a little bit of slip, but if you press and hold that, we have ESC off when it comes off. It's about 5 seconds, you press it down. Now there we go, ESC off. Now, although it says it's off, it's never completely off. Now one of the things the OBD11 will let us do is turn the traction completely off. So the next thing we'll look at is the traction control. So if we look here, we can basically change these settings. So again, a number of different things you can choose. You can either have that button inactive, or, you know, I mean, self-explanatory again. So you've got ASR off, ESC off, version 1, and then you've got version 2. I'm not sure what the difference is. I'll have to root around and find what that difference is, but this will allow you to turn it off permanently. However, just doing that alone is not enough, because your traction control actually works in tandem with your ABS module. Now another nanny that the car has is what they call XDS. As everyone sort of goes on about, Audis do have a tendency to understeer, so to sort of counteract and combat that, Audi fitted a system called XDS. Basically what that does is it vectors the car using the actual brakes. So if you're turning into a corner, it will brake the inside wheel and allow you to turn in tighter. Now again, on the forums there's, you know, a bit of information, a bit of misinformation around there that will tell you that this does something different, but it doesn't. So there's a couple of settings you can have on here. There's off, which will have no sort of brake interaction at all. Standard, which is what it comes from the factory, and then we've got weak, medium and strong. Now the RS3s come out the factory with it medium. Now if you're going to turn it to strong, people do report that you can smell the brakes sort of, you know, burning, which means it is very strong. I'm not really sure that I want to play with that, to be honest. I mean, on track, when I was on track in this car, you could sort of feel it sort of fighting you in the corners. Feel the traction fighting when you're coming into the corners, and a lot of people report who take these cars on track to turn it completely off. Anyway, I'm not going to play with that today. The next thing we're going to look at, so seatbelt warning. So obviously, if you're an idiot and you don't wear your seatbelt when you drive, you're going to have an annoying bong bong sound. So with this app, you can basically turn that sound off, so you can drive without your seatbelt and not be disturbed. So I mean, there's loads. It's all self-explanatory really. So we've got, you know, a headlight washer. I mean, I find that really annoying actually. So at night time when you're driving, or when your lights are activated, if you want to wash your windows, the headlight washers come on. So you can turn that off if you want. I'm not really sure, it annoys me enough to turn it off. So open door alarm. So if we open the door, that alarm there, you can basically turn off with this device. Again, not entirely sure it bothers me that much to turn it off. So yeah, there's a whole range of things, but anyway, what I want to look at is the nanny systems. So if we go to vehicle, and we're going to start with engine first. So exhaust valves, this is quite a popular mod. So obviously you've got exhaust valves in the back. So with your drive select mode, so efficiency, comfort, auto, your valves will actually be closed, and it's only when you're in dynamic that your valves will actually open. However, your valves won't open straight off the bat in dynamic. Basically, they'll only open when you get past 3,000 revs. So with the OBD11, allows you to disable that, so your exhaust valves will be open all the time as soon as you start your engine. So exhaust valves, so we want to go in module 1. We want to go to long coding. Now what we need to do for this is start the car, make sure the car is in dynamic, put the gearbox in sport, turn the engine off, turn your ignition back on, put the car in park, and we want to go to the middle sort of group of people on long coding, go down, exhaust valves, enable or disable, and that will have your exhaust valves permanently open now. Okay, so the next thing we want to look at is the all-wheel drive system. So this is module 22, and what we're going to look at here is there's a system called, there's a system on the car that reduces the starting vibration. So particularly on launch control, some of you might have heard it, when you let your foot off the brake, you'll hear like such a weird, strange sound. Now obviously the system is basically easing that clutch in to reduce that vibration as much as possible. But what that means is your launch control time is going to suffer. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Adaptation in module 22. Now you'll see there's 4 options here. So roller test bench mode, functional. What that is it basically puts a car in front wheel drive only. So if you are taking the car to a dyno, it's only got 1 roller, they'll basically select this, so only your front wheels are spinning, not your rear. But what we want is acoustic measure wiring logic. So now you look at this, you got 3 settings. So there's standard, increased traction, and reduced noise. Now there is speculation that increased traction means more power to the rear. Doesn't do that, unfortunately. So what increased traction does is it just reduces the time that your rear is engaged when it's needed. So I mean, we're talking milliseconds here. So increased traction basically will activate the rear a lot quicker than it would in standard form. So if your front wheels are losing grip, there's obviously a little bit of a delay before the rear come in. So with increased traction, that delay is going to be decreased. So yeah, sorry to disappoint you on that one. However, I have driven with it on, and especially under load, the car does feel a lot more like a 4-wheel drive. It's definitely worth putting it on. I mean, I haven't managed to push it to this extreme and see if we can, you know, slide it more or whatnot. But it's definitely a setting you want on. Okay, so next setting, we're going to look at the nannies, the control systems, traction control systems of the cars. So the next nanny thing we're going to change, you want to go into module 3, which is your ABS, go into Adaptation. And again, you might have noticed this yourself, particularly at high speed. There's a system called straight ahead brake stabilization. What that does is when you're braking, it always pulls the car into a straight line. So what this does mean is you can't get that lift off oversteer. You know, your weight's not going to shift under braking. It's going to want to constantly bring the car in a straight line. So I'm going to turn that off. It's the first time I've turned this off, so I'll have to report back to you exactly how good this is. Okay, so the next thing we want to look at is starting vibration reduction. So as I said, this apparently makes your launch more efficient, so the car's not going to try and sort of dampen or cushion that vibration. So basically your clutches are going to engage much quicker. So you've got 4 settings. You've got normal, strong, maximum, or deactivated. I've set mine to deactivated. Apparently, I mean, I haven't done it yet, apparently it's much better for your launch. And the next thing we're going to look at as well is torque limitation. So we've got 2 choices, deactivated or activated. So again, I put mine as activated. So we'll have to do a launch and see if that has made any difference. So that's pretty much it. I mean, you know, I could be here all day if I wanted to go through all these systems, but I mean, video and motion, for instance, you know, with a USB or through your phone, you can play videos through your, you know, your display up front. Now, I used to have an S6 with it had a digital radio on it, so I could watch Top Gear when I was in traffic. But the moment I took my foot off the brake and started rolling, it dimmed down and shut off, so you couldn't watch it obviously whilst you were driving. Now, if you did want to take that off, you know, if you've got kids in the passenger seat or whatnot, you can take it off with this device. Mirror link in motion, again, same thing. So you can mirror obviously what your phone's doing on this display, and when you start driving it will turn off to stop distracting you. But however, you can take that off. So one of the things I'm going to look at as well, lock and unlock acoustic. So basically when you lock and unlock the car, it's going to make an audible little note, probably from the alarm. So 1 chirp to open, 2 chirps to close probably. So I'll put that on because it'll be interesting to see what that actually sounds like. I'm not sure I like that. Another one we can look at, throttle pedal response. So basically this throttle, because it's fly-by-wire, it's not actually a throttle cable. It's designed to go up in a sort of curve fashion. So if you put your foot to the floor, it's not going to immediately go to that value. It's going to slowly curve up to that value. Now, one thing you can do with the app is basically change that so it is sort of real time with what your foot's doing. So if you plant it halfway, it's going to let the throttle open halfway. So that's something I did put on, and I did notice it was a lot more sort of responsive with your foot. It takes a bit of getting used to, but it's definitely better to have on the car. And I think that is about it for this video. So as I said, I could literally sit here forever and a day and go through everything. Obviously every car is different, so there's some things that you might not have on the car to allow you to do certain things. For instance, like, you know, fold the mirrors. Obviously you have to have the power mirrors to do that. So yes, that's the OBD11 Pro. Now the device, I think it cost me about 100 quid. It's worth its weight in gold. I mean, just the fact you can, you know, fault find and clear faults with it is great. And things like, you know, resetting your service intervals, or you know, you can do all that on there. If you're doing sort of maintenance yourself, such as changing your rear pads, I mean, you usually have to take it to Audi because they need to unlock it with a device. You can actually unlock your brakes with this OBD11, allowing you to do your own pads. It's just a really handy device. Now, if there's anything you want me to go over in particular, pop a comment below. Let me know your thoughts if you disagree with anything I said. Yeah, so that's this video done. Stay tuned for the next video because we are going to take this on the road. I'm going to show you what stage 3 has really done to the car. So we're going to use our little draggy, see what 0 to 60s we're getting. Quarter mile, and hopefully we'll go to a private road and we'll do a 60 to 130 as well and see what time we got on that. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. Plenty of action coming up, and we'll see you in the next video. Yes guys, so here's the Fiesta. Whoa, yeah. Here's the Fiesta ST. You can tell I might use the manual, can't you? What's this third pedal?